The King's royal tour to Australia and Samoa has brought the question over republicanism and slavery reparations to the fore once again. The monarch, who has paused his cancer treatment for his first tour to a realm as sovereign, has been using the important trip to shore up support and flex his diplomatic muscles with Queen Camilla. But heckling from an indigenous senator over colonisation,
"Give us what you stole from us!"
a growing Republican campaign in the country,
We don't need a king.
No. So thanks very much. Off you go, Charles.
and a vocal reparations movement ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa has threatened to mire the occasion in political controversy. As the King flies to preside over the biannual Commonwealth Summit, what can he do in the face of these issues? Previously, Charles has never commented on the possibility of paying reparations for the royal family's historical links to the slave trade. He acknowledged the appalling atrocity in Barbados in 2021, but the remark stopped short of saying sorry. Prince William's comments in the Caribbean were similar.
I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
Suggesting he's in lockstep with his father and that his reign will follow Charles's lead.
How are you? Okay. Welcome to this country.
Last year, the King gave his full backing to a new research project into the matter, allowing access to the Royal Household Archives for a 3-year project investigating the monarchy's connections to slavery, which date back to the 17th century. Buckingham Palace has also said the King takes the issue profoundly seriously, and he has previously expressed his personal sorrow over the suffering of transatlantic slaves. And while the King has never made known his personal views on reparations, during his trip to Rwanda in 2022, he praised the way Canada has made progress in reconciliation with its Indigenous people. He said that we must find new ways to acknowledge our past, citing the most painful period of our history and saying he continues to deepen his own understanding of slavery's enduring impact. It's understood that before making any concrete decisions about his official response, he is waiting to see the results of the research he's allowed into the family's association with it in the Royal Archives. But one source close to the reparations movement has suggested to the Telegraph that the King should use the occasion of the biannual Commonwealth meeting to apologise for what they say was his family's involvement in the slave trade. Ahead of time, Number 10 said the issue would not be on the agenda for the 6-day meeting with leaders and officials from 56 countries. But it is understood that discussions may now be part of official business. Caribbean community nations have consistently asked for a formal apology as a minimum from the monarch, and it is suggested that the issue will be raised with British officials and possibly even with the head of the Commonwealth himself. But in the face of outspoken critics of the institution, the King has typically remained unfazed and stoic. His approach was no different during an event at Parliament House in Canberra, where he was heckled by Lydia Thorpe.
"Give us our land back! Give us what you stole from us! Our bones, our skulls, our babies, our people! You destroyed our land! Give us a treaty! We want a treaty in this country! You are a genocider! This is not your land! This is not your land! You are not my kids!"
The Australian Prime Minister, who is an avowed Republican, quickly condemned the senator, calling her disrespectful for the political outburst. But even though his first speech as monarch in Australia did not go exactly to plan, the King should be cheered that the condemnation against the outspoken senator was swift and almost universal.
Well, I got carried out by the AFP, so I didn't get a chance to look around on who was supporting me.
But it was an unwelcome disruption to his first visit to a realm as monarch, his first overseas tour since his cancer diagnosis, and the first time a King of Australia has stepped on its soil. The question being asked now is whether the senator's comments, and indeed the underlying Republican sentiment, reflects the feeling elsewhere in the Commonwealth. The King will no doubt face these questions in Samoa, where he is officially opening the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which Sir Keir Starmer is also attending. It's the King's first time attending as the organisation's head, and he's expected to come under significant pressure over slave trade reparations. These calls are primarily about wanting governments to take responsibility for the ongoing harms caused by systems set up by the British monarchy. But amid the reparations furore, the King will deliver a speech, welcome new heads of government, and attend a celebratory dinner in one of his most significant days of duty since his cancer diagnosis. When dissecting the success of this tour, it might be asked whether the King has convinced Australians not to say farewell to the monarchy and to him as their head of state.
I've been practicing my curtsies.
I want to give support to the monarchy.
I don't think there'd be too many people that 70 years ago would have seen the Queen on her first visit and now the King on his.
The Australian Republican movement's latest research found that 92% of the public are open to becoming a republic, and that 60% would prefer an Australian head of state to King Charles. But the group faces a battle on two fronts, both winning public support and then actually getting a future government to hold a referendum on it. So far, despite the country being led by avowed Republicans, the idea of a referendum has been kicked into the long grass. But has the spotlight from the King's talk brought the issue back into mind for the Australian people?
I think Australia's ready to move on from the monarchy.
Whatever the King chooses to say or to avoid addressing in Samoa, it could mark a moment to reflect on the historical ties between the monarchy and slavery. But whether or not he delves into the contentious issue during the final leg of the tour, the King's 17th visit to Australia, the country he fell in love with as a teenager, showed him how much the Australians still resonate with their head of state. Adoring and excited crowds of thousands met him at many of his engagements and showed him that it was not for nothing that he paused his cancer treatment to travel 11,000 miles. The official party line on republicanism for the monarchy also remains steadfast from the Queen's reign and her own words in 2000, when she said that the future of the monarchy in Australia is an issue for the Australian people and that they alone will decide by democratic and constitutional means. And with 2/3 of the Commonwealth's 56 members now republics, the future of the international organisation and its partner nations remains as relevant as ever. Royal Insight is a fortnightly video output by The Telegraph, where we give you our insider knowledge and analysis of the main royal stories. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover, please let us know in the comment section below and visit our website for more royal content, news and analysis.